Hey, I want to go ahead and say before this podcast got started that I was playing around with new software and it added a weird audio echo. I apologize for that. Next time I'll probably just go ahead and make sure to do a secondary audio edit. So that way, if it does do an echo, I can replace it with something that doesn't have an echo. I don't know what created it, but it's there. Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I am doing a whole bunch of experiments today. As you can see, there's a new camera angle. My computer, which you can see back here, the video card on it's gone wonky. Part of the reason why I got a laptop is because it was acting weird. Now the video card's like out. I have a 4K monitor, and the best I can do is 800, 600. So until I get that fixed, I'm not doing a podcast on that anymore, which sucks because this laptop only has one USB port. So I can either use my nice 4K camera or my microphone, and since it's a podcast, I'm using my microphone, so onboard camera it is. Now, some cool things though from a technical aspect is I'm playing around with some software, so now I'm actually going to be able to put images and stuff incorporate into this video, which I'm actually really excited about. So wow, I totally forgot to put on my suit. I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt. Do I look cool? So, yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. This camera angle is kind of nice because I had to clean less because I hate cleaning up. And instead of getting my son's picture in the background, you get my Genesis poster. So, you know, pluses and minuses. You might enjoy the Genesis poster more. I enjoy my son's picture more for obvious reasons. But anyways, we'll go on to this very adequate show. One might even say this is a workhorse of an episode today. This is very exciting stuff. I'm going to cover a whole bunch of stuff. Another thing to let you know is I'm not planning on recording any new episodes next week. I'm thinking the easier way to handle this will be to not record any new episodes while my kids are around, and mainly just work on research and writing and post-production and stuff like that on that while my kids are here. And that way I can record during when my kids aren't here and hopefully produce a better product. I'm not going to lie, the last two episodes were really abbreviated. I wasn't a huge fan of them. I'd rather do something longer with more research into it than something just short off the top of my head. So that's what this episode's going to be. And we're going to be covering a fair amount of topics right now. We're going to start out with Loki episode 3. I was asked to talk about Superman and Lois, and I haven't seen that much of it. So I started. I got the CW app on my Roku. And CW and Roku want to send me checks for the little product drop I just gave them. I'm 100% cool with it. Email me. I'll give you my address. You can send that money straight to me. But anyways, so I caught up with some Superman and Lois. I've seen the first 5 episodes, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts on that. I was also asked to talk about the Monsterverse and Godzilla versus Kong, so I'll cover that. Am I on Team Cap or Team Iron Man? I'll talk about that one. And then I'm going to have a little soapbox about Jeff Bezos. And then if you survive my soapbox is going to be kind of long because Jeff Bezos, God, he's been all over the place in the news. It's obnoxious. If you survive that, I'm going to give. There's going to be a little special at the end, which I highly recommend watching the video of this for the special at the end. You can watch the podcast, but you're going to miss a little bit with the little special at the end. So anyways, without further ado, let me go ahead and show off my new software here. Bam! Episode 3 of Loki focuses on wrong way. So focuses on these two. We have Loki and the variant. And they go on a little adventure. I went into the last episode assuming this one's going to be very exposition heavy. And it is. But it's also very explosion heavy, which kind of turns out funny because when I typed in exposition, I misspelled it and it autocorrected to explosion. And yeah, it was exposition heavy and explosion heavy. So actually a surprisingly nice twist. I like that. But yeah, it's mainly about learning about the variant, who is in this, appears to be, the variant's full name is Loki, what was the name? Loki Laufey daughter, which is how that goes. That's her name in the MCU, but she doesn't go by Loki, she goes by Sylvie. And Sylvie is actually the name of not Loki, but the Enchantress in the MCU. Sylvie Lushton, according to the regular Marvel Comics universe, and Lushton is probably not a name they wanted to go with, but I think it's obvious in the MCU, Loki's variant is actually the Enchantress. So, and that explains largely why the powers are different. If you look in the abilities section down at the bottom there, one of her abilities is mind control, which we very much have seen demonstrated. So yes, Loki has introduced the MCU's version of the Enchantress. And it's largely them going on this little road trip on this planet that's about ready to get destroyed and discussing things with each other. Mainly just little facts about each other, their origins, and that's kind of the bulk of the episode, actually. I still think the TVA are the main villains, although Owen Wilson and the TVA are really not in this episode. You get that little bit at the beginning where she's interrogating one of the members of the TVA for information. But, yeah, there's not much to that. She does kill members of the TVA here. And it is also established that the TVA, they said that the TVA always lived in the TVA. They were just, created for the TVA, and they always existed. But we actually find out they're actually variants, just like Loki and, both Lokis on here. So, yeah, will that pay off in some sort of story form later? Probably, but I don't know exactly how. Like I said, I think they're the villains. I think Mobius is probably alright. I think there are members there alright. But I think that one judge, Renslayer, I think she's probably very much a villain here. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll twist it. Maybe she'll be a good guy and Mobius is the main mastermind. I don't think they're going that angle, though. I think, the Timekeepers, the big, overlords over this whole situation, they are either dead or don't exist, and Renslayer's just running cover for them. I think the idea of a sacred timeline doesn't really exist. So what their main game plan is, I actually don't know. And we obviously they will reveal that as the series goes on. One of the big topics I'm going to have to get used to that. Over here. It's not over here. It's over here. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, that makes no sense. I pointed in the wrong direction. The picture is over here. Mirrors are funny. Anyways, one of the big things that I'm certain people are going to talk about is how it's revealed here that Loki is bi. And I'm not going to lie, I don't care. It fits in with his character just fine. He said it as matter-of-factly. And it makes sense. It's fine. If anybody wants to blow up about it, I literally don't care. I will buy you a giant violin and you can cry about it. Because I don't care. It's nice to have representation. Doesn't really mean much in the end, at the end of the day. But anyways, those are my thoughts on episode 3 of Loki. This is actually the shortest of the 3 episodes we've gotten so far. This one was 42 minutes, I think, overall, which means only probably a little over a half hour of actual episode in it once you add in the credits. Obviously, they were left on this apocalypse with no actual way out that's seeable, but they're not going to die like that. That's not going to be the end of the series. They'll get out somehow. The most interesting thing was just kind of learning some backstories about them. It was good. Nothing, probably a bit more exciting than your average exposition-heavy episode, but nothing thrilling. So that's it on Loki. So let's go ahead and move on to what's next on the list. This guy, Superman and Lois. So I saw the first 5 episodes of this series, Superman and Lois, and I have to say I like it. It's pretty damn good. I really like how this explores an alternate aspect of Superman that we don't usually see. We usually actually see the origin story of Superman. It feels like all the time they're going to give you the origin story. And, and this is actually different. This is Clark Kent and Lois Lane. I'm going to go over the story, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just know I'm going to start spoiling stuff for stuff that came out like 3 months ago. Lois Lane and Clark Kent are married. They've been together for a while. They have 2 teenage sons, so they've been together probably at least 20 years, probably something in that range. I don't know if it's firmly established. But the sons, there's Jonathan and Jordan. Jonathan is a football player. He's actually a football star, and he does really well. And Jordan kind of just is a loner. Because of his football skills, Clark and Lois largely suspect that perhaps Jonathan has inherited some of his father's abilities. They don't know he's Superman, but they start looking at the sons and what happens, and there's an accident out in the barn where Jordan is almost, like part of the barn almost falls on Jordan. To digress a little bit, it's because they need to do something with the router that's out in the barn. Now, if you know anything about internet, why you'd put a router in the barn is one of the most idiotic things I've ever heard in my life. Completely baffling. Maybe you put a secondary router out in the barn if you want internet in the barn, but like your main internet would not be from the barn. That you put that in the middle of your house. But anyways, I go back. There's an accident. Part of the barn almost falls on Jordan, and Jonathan jumps in and saves him, and falls on them, and they're fine. And as the story evolves, what we actually end up finding out is that Jordan, part of the reason why he's more like shut down is because he doesn't have massive amounts of abilities, but he does have some of his dad's abilities. As the series progresses, we kind of see that. And the barn accident, like Jonathan jumped in, but Jordan was the one that actually protected him. So the big twist at the end of the pilot is that Jonathan doesn't have his dad's powers. Jordan does. But it's not a lot. It's a little bit, but it's enough. So what I find most interesting about that's kind of the setup for the series. Oh yeah, and side thought, there is a Lex Luthor here, and it kind of baffled me. The guy, what was the guy's name? Wool Park was cast as Lex Luthor in this series, which really baffled me since John Cryer played the role in Supergirl. And it's the same universe, unless the universe jumped again and I missed it. Last time I saw anything from this universe was Crisis. But that kind of baffled me. But very quickly, it's kind of established that this must be an alternate reality Lex Luthor. And this actually seems like this is probably a Lex Luthor who's actually from a reality where he's a good guy and Superman's the villain. And that is interesting. And that dynamic's more interesting. We haven't... I don't know if it's been seen in the series. Like I said, I'm 5 episodes in. Clark and Lex, this alternate reality Lex Luthor, have not had any meaningful conversations other than Lex is trying to track down Superman. And what else? But that is a dynamic I am very interested in seeing how that happens, how that evolves. Now, some minuses is this Superman costume is not very good looking. Lots of people are complaining about how it's a muscle suit, and usually my defense is, Henry Cavill's definitely wearing a muscle suit too. Now, both are true. Both these guys are actually really well built, but they're both actually also wearing muscle suits. But the thing is, with this costume, it really kind of does look like a Halloween costume. It looks not particularly great. Let me see if I can actually take advantage of this software to kind of show you what it looks like real fast. But it's mainly like the logo in the middle does not look, it doesn't look good. It looks like some sort of screen printed thing. Here's a picture. let me go ahead and bring that up so that the people on the podcast will get nothing from this. I can show you guys. But what it looks like to me is mainly kind of like a nice Halloween costume, which is certainly not what they're going for. Why'd they have to pop up right there? There we go. Now, like in the show especially, it doesn't look terrible here, but in the show especially, you can kind of tell that it just all kind of looks printed. And it's not a good... Like, the actual design of the costume, the coloration of the costume, these are perks. But it looks printed, it looks like something like corporate made, it doesn't look like something space made, or it doesn't look like something homemade. Kind of, when you do a Superman costume, it needs to look like super, like, sci-fi, like something that's impossible to be made, that Jor-El made for him, or it needs to look like something his mom made. And this kind of looks like a mix in the middle, and it doesn't quite work for me. Like I said, I like the coloration, I like the general design of it, but it doesn't quite work for me. And I hate to say that, because like I say, I like this show. It's a good show. And I really like the family dynamic. What I find interesting is how Jonathan, in particular, he has lots of issues, because Jordan actually decides he does like football. He really enjoys it. And it's kind of unfair, because he does have... Like, he's not remotely as powerful as his dad, but he does have abilities. And Jonathan is really starting to feel overshadowed by Jordan. And you can tell, like, they write the character with nuance. Like, he knows it's not Jordan's fault that he's doing so well. But still, it's not working for him. He's getting overshadowed, and he doesn't want to be a jerk about it, but he's not digging it. And, sometimes it's outbursts, but lots of times it's him, like, trying to be reasonable about this. And I really appreciate that. It would be easy to just write the teenage character as just kind of like a jerk. Just like, how dare you, I'm always going to be a jerk. And that's not how they're writing. And I like the family dynamic. About the only member of the family I'm not really enjoying, probably because it's written that way, would be the character of Lois' father, who is kind of just written kind of like almost how you'd expect them to write a character like that, who's kind of antagonistic. He works with Superman, and he's in the military. He works with Superman. He points out big problems, and he's like, Superman needs to prioritize this. He can't be, off of his family. And, I don't know. I feel like the actor does a good job. He's well cast for the role. What's his name? It's John McNamara from Nip Tuck. I want to say Dylan Walsh. I think that's it. Dylan Walsh. He does a good job, but he's kind of a generic jerk, and I wish there's a bit more to him. They'll probably give more to him. Like I said, I'm only 5 episodes in, but overall, I'm very much enjoying it. I do plan on watching more. So I'll probably talk about the rest of the season. I don't know how many episodes there'll be in the season at some other point. But like I said, I'm really enjoying this. I like it, just a different aspect of Superman's life. And one funny thing, this is the older Superman and Lois, yet both these actors are younger than Henry Cavill and Amy Adams, who are kind of still going over the origin in the DCEU. Just a funny fact. But anyways, it's an interesting look at Superman's life, an alternate take of Superman's life, and I'm really enjoying it. Now, another thing I was asked about, my thoughts on the Monsterverse and Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, let's go ahead and start with 2014's Godzilla, the beginning of this universe. This is a fine movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I was not thoroughly... wow, actually, God. I forgot. Years ago, I did do a video on this movie. It's a fine movie. I enjoy it enough. I found it super... it's shot dark to make it cheaper, so the effects don't quite have to be as good, which makes sense to me. However, they do this thing in this movie that drives me nuts. every time you see this action movie between Godzilla versus one of the monsters, they have some sort of excuse to cut away, and they do it at least like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and it's annoying. Like, you want to do it once, okay, sure, but they do it over and over again, and that gets really annoying and really fucking obvious that they're being cheap on that one. That annoys me in that movie. That being said, is it what I would consider really a bad movie? Not really. It's fine. It's entertaining enough. And then the second movie in the series, Kong Skull Island. I was actually surprised by Kong Skull Island. I think I like the thing that in that movie that I loved was Samuel L. Jackson. He really did a great job in that movie. He goes after this whole kind of Captain Ahab thing on Kong, and it's really well done. Samuel L. Jackson is, of course, he's chewing scenery, but it's so awesome. He's just going insane trying to kill Kong, and I really like him in that movie. The other real standout in that movie is John C. Reilly, he's kind of doing the John C. Reilly thing. He's this old soldier that got abandoned on the island, and it really works well. Now, the disadvantage, the really letdown in that movie, are really your main heroes. You have Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson are like your main hero and heroine. And what can I tell you about them? Tom Hiddleston plays pool, and Brie Larson is a photographer, and that's about it. There's not much to their characters, and they're really your leads in this movie. And that's really the downfall of that movie. Now, is it bad? No, I actually enjoy that movie significantly more than 2014's Godzilla. Simply for Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson's whole arc in that movie is so kind of over the top and kind of awesome that I enjoy the crap out of it. It's actually that aspect of that movie is so much better than it needed to be. And there's they said it during post-Vietnam, which is, it's a really interesting aspect, because what they did with the Samuel L. Jackson character is they introduced this idea that they're ending the war and he's not happy about it, because he's just looking for the next fight. So he goes to Skull Island, and Kong, the second Kong pops up, you can tell, like, yeah, he's mad that the soldiers die. Because when they first pop up, Kong's like attacking, because he's like, what the fuck you guys doing? And he's mad the soldiers died, but you also know he's thirsting for his next fight. And that's where, like, his character's crazy. He's just looking for a fight. And that's kind of, that movie, it works for me, even though it has huge issues in the hero department. Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, completely wasted in that movie. However, you can say that movie, it has it has Loki, it has Captain Marvel, it has Nick Fury, it has Corman Day. So it's kind of an MCU movie, except Nick Fury's really crazy. But yeah, Kong Skull Island, kind of underrated in my opinion. Now, I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe upon rewatch I won't think as much of it, but I just remember enjoying it. I think the strengths outweigh the negatives in that movie. So, when I say movie's not as good as Kong Skull Island, which I will say here eventually, it's not a huge negative on my part. It's to me, that's just a way of saying it's not amazing. And I won't even say Kong Skull Island's amazing. I just think it's severely underrated. I think it's a thoroughly enjoyable movie for what it is. Now, what's the next one? Godzilla King of the Monsters. That's another one that I think is underrated. You could tell in that movie that they were responding to the negative criticism of Godzilla's 2014 that I largely just gave you, that there's not enough of the monster fights. It sets up monster fights and then it doesn't give them to you. And then King of the Monster gives you lots of monster fights. And for the people complaining, oh, it does too much monster fights, I'm sorry, this is a Godzilla movie. That's kind of what the show's about. So, I enjoyed that one. I didn't think the humans were even downplayed. I thought they gave the humans plenty to do. I thought they gave the monsters plenty to do, and I enjoyed it. I personally thought it was a solid balance between the two aspects. Yeah, that brings us to the main one. I point in the wrong direction again. The main one, Godzilla vs. Kong. This is the new one. It came out a couple months ago. I saw it on HBO Max. HBO Max can send me a check whenever. But anyways, I think this one is fine. I think this one is, I think Godzilla 2014 is probably the worst in this franchise so far. And then probably Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters are both good. They're both pretty good, underrated. Not great, but underrated. And I think Godzilla vs. Kong kind of ends up somewhere in the middle. I think they do lots of weird stuff in this one. Like they reveal a center of the Earth hidden area where the monsters live, which is really weird. And Kong's kind of set up to be the hero, and Godzilla's going insane and attacking cities, and we don't know why. And of course, it's revealed because this businessman is making Mecha Godzilla. So the whole story just ends up being Godzilla and Kong fight. Mostly, Godzilla kicks Kong's butt. Then at the end, Kong kind of gets a win. Wait, how's it go? No, I think the first fight, Godzilla wins, and then there's one where Kong wins. And in the final fight, Godzilla kind of kicks the living crap out of Kong. And then Mechagodzilla comes up and kicks the crap out of Godzilla. And then they bring Kong back. And he wins against Mechagodzilla. For me, this one, the monster fights are pretty good. But this one, this is actually one where I'd argue the human stories are way too weak. That was the argument for Godzilla King of the Monsters, and that one's kind of worked for me, but it doesn't really work as well here. This one doesn't have a good balance. It's mainly, I'm interested in Kong, but that's about it. I don't really care about the human characters, really, in this movie at all. Godzilla vs. Kong for me was just fine. It was a movie that was there. A little bit better than 2014's Godzilla, but it's not great. Overall, I would say I'm enjoying this giant Monsterverse where we have these monsters fighting each other. I'm not really sure where they go to it after Godzilla vs. Kong, because what two big headliners do we have bigger than that? That being said, I think it's fine. I think we have two underrated movies and two meh movies. One a bit more meh than the other. Ranking them, how would I rank them? The worst is 2014's Godzilla. Second worst would be Godzilla vs. Kong. Probably second best, I'm leaning towards Kong Skull Island, and just a little bit better than that is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like I said, overall I'm enjoying this franchise, but it's not, especially this last one, it's not great. There's lots of flaws. Every movie has tons of holes you can poke into. If you take it as it is, you'll have fun with these movies, but it's nothing mind-blowing. It is what it is. Now, on to the next topic. Onward. I was asked, what side would I end up on? Team Captain America versus Team Iron Man. Ooh, I didn't change the image. I need to do that. Bam. So, Team Iron Man versus Team Captain America. And this is something when this movie first came out, I was like, oh yeah, I'm 100% behind Team Captain America. I know the comic book story. Team Cap all the way. And if we are talking the comic book story, yes, 100% Team Cap. But the MCU's version of Civil War was a bit more nuanced than the actual comic book arc. And that's where I get a little bit not so sure, because that's what I'm covering. I mean, that's a picture of the MCU there. MCU's Civil War was kind of an idea about regulation. And the idea was the Avengers should be regulated. And how I feel about that is, again, it's nuanced. Do I trust the government to regulate the Avengers? No. No, I won't trust the government to regulate the Avengers. So in that aspect, I 100% agree with Cap. However, do I trust Iron Man to run around unregulated? Do create Ultron just because he thought it'd be cool and it would mean he won't have to work anymore. No. So I end up on this weird thing where it's like, I want someone like Captain America to go out and do what he thinks needs to be done because I trust him. I don't trust Iron Man to do what he thinks needs to be done because he'll just go create fucking AI that'll try to kill the world. So it's where I end up on in the MCU is kind of way more nuanced. So if I were to break it down all the way, I do feel like Captain America's arguments have more validity. But like I said, this is all nuance. This is specifically in if we're talking about the Avengers. If we were to translate this to should we regulate something like a corporation, yeah, I would trust the government more than a corporation. As little as I trust the government, the corporations are just have just overpowered the government and are just sucking like the American people dry at this moment. So if we were to take it to more real world settings, it's definitely for like if this were government regulation, Team Cap were against it and Iron Man were for it. I'm 100% Team Iron Man. So I'm largely in favor of government regulations. But when we break it down to the Avengers, especially Captain America and Iron Man, it's far less clear. So which side am I on? Like I said, if it's Captain America, I want Captain America. If Captain America thinks something needs done, I'm going to rely on his judgment to go and do something. If Iron Man thinks something needs done, I am far less willing to go along with it. And I guess that's a mixed bag because we've seen Iron Man makes a lot of mistakes, but mostly he does get the bad guy. It just, Ultron was a really big fuck up on his part. So, it's nuanced. I think at the end of the day, if I have to pick a team, if I have to pick a team, it has to be Team Cap. But like I said, that's strictly in retrospect to the Avengers. So, what I would say is maybe even require that the Avengers maybe coordinate a bit more. Maybe have the Avengers more in a democratic fashion internally, like maybe control someone like Tony's wild impulses more than necessarily yeah, this is a deep dive right now. I'm going way more into this. Captain America Civil War is an awesome movie. You should watch it. But yeah, if we go into the politics of it, this isn't something of a clear answer. I think there's arguments on both sides. I think that's part of why I really like the movie, because neither character is what I would consider wrong. They both have good reasons for what they're doing. And if you look at their backstory, Captain America just went through the Winter Soldier story, so he's looking at this like, God, government agencies can be overrun and corrupted. We can't just trust them implicitly. And Iron Man's looking at from what happened in Age of Ultron, just like, guys, I can make big mistakes. Maybe we should, pull the brakes on this thing. People died because I fucked up, and I'm not cool with that. And so they both have strong arguments. But I definitely have to go more with Team Cap in respect to the Avengers. I guess I don't have much more to say on that one. Now, I'm going to move on to my soapbox, which means I'm going to be getting fairly political. But I'm going to do something fun at the end. This might be a longer soapbox too, because this is going to be on Jeff Bezos, and he's done some funky stuff over the past couple weeks, and he's a fucker, and I use Amazon more than I want to admit, but yeah, Jeff Bezos, too much money, and we're going to go over that. So to kind of set up how much money Jeff Bezos has, he has approximately $180 billion. It's the CEO of Amazon. There is no way on earth a person can work enough to earn $100 billion. You don't earn that. You accumulate that. It's impossible. No worker can earn $180 billion. To give you an idea of how much $180 billion is. In his entire life, Jeff Bezos is 57 years old. In his entire life, on average, he has accumulated $150,000 a minute. I can't even fathom that. Can you fathom having $150,000 a minute? You can't even fucking spend that. You can get anything in the world you've ever wanted or even conceived of, and you aren't even close to spending that fast. It's a baffling amount of money, and he has control of it. So, and one of the stories that came out not that long ago was a ProPublica story. Hey, I still have this picture up here. We're gonna go ahead and kill this. Was this ProPublica story talking about how Jeff Bezos and lots of these rich jerks are not. I'm gonna bring it up, but these guys are not paying taxes. You get to hear me type on my keyboard. Let's bring this up. And I wish I'd come up with some good green screenshots for this one. But here's what we're at. So, Jeff Bezos hasn't been paying... there's many years he hasn't been paying money. Here it is. Now I can bring you the actual facts here right now. No? Where is it? Oh my god, why is this story all of a sudden hiding? It was a big deal. Here we go. This is the good one. Okay, so the full breakdown. Jeff Bezos, he has accumulated $99 billion from 2014 to 2018. He has reported $4.22 billion of that in that amount of time. And he has paid a total amount of taxes of $973 million. So it's almost $1 billion. It seems like a lot. But if we look at his tax rate, that's 0.9%. It's nothing. And it's just baffling that he would pay so little. And let's see, there's actually... But yeah, go to the ProPublica piece, because there's actually years where he paid zero. And that was just... It is unfathomable that someone with that much money is paying little to no taxes. The fact that he has 180... Nobody needs $1 billion, and he has 180 of them. And at most, over a 4 or 5 year period, we're taking 1/180th of that. That is unfathomable. Now, the next story to come out. Next story was that he announced that he wants to go to space personally. Now, this is nothing. He wants to go to space personally through his Blue Origin company. And, brain farting. Yeah, he wants to go. What he says is when he says he wants to go to space is that he's going to go to the highest level of the atmosphere, still considered space, for like a moment, and then come back. He's not like going to orbit the Earth or something like that. It's like he's going to barely tap space and then come back. Now, in order to do this, though, he's asked the government for money. He asked for taxpayer money. This dude that has $180 billion asked taxpayers for money. He asked, apparently there's this loan given out to space companies. Supposed to be, I guess, instead of giving this to NASA, we actually give this to companies. And he lost the bid to Elon Musk and his SpaceX company. And so what he did was he started lobbying senators in the tune of $625,000 to pass a second piece of legislation that does the same thing that Elon Musk just got given to him for his Blue Origin. Now, I don't agree that Elon Musk have gotten $10 billion for SpaceX, because fuck that. He has the money to pay for it, and so does Jeff Bezos. And the idea that he is now, when I say lobbying, we all know that's code for bribing. He is bribing these guys to the tune of $625,000 so they can write legislation to give him $10 billion for his fucking vanity project of Blue Origin. This money, this is what's going on. We should be giving this money to NASA so they can actually explore space. This is why corporations and government are different. Because corporations are just out there to make money, or for fucking vanity projects like this. Whereas NASA, actually, because it's a government agency, is actually interested in exploring in scientific research. Jeff Bezos just wants to make a fucking buck, and Elon Musk just wants to live on Mars because that's where his people are from, because he's a weird fuck. And it's so frustrating that they are bribing these guys. And here's the super frustrating. $625,000 in lobbying bought him the Senate. I'm not even joking. The final vote came down 68 to... It's like 68 to 30, because there were 2 non-votes. It was something like that. And fortunately enough, it was killed in the House. So he did not get $10 billion in taxpayer money for his fucking vanity project. But I'm so frustrated that it came to that. And here's the really frustrating thing about that. Let me show you. Is this it? Oh, no. But that's the story about the bailout. That's a story from The Intercept, if you want to look it up. The reporters were Sarah Sirota and Ryan Grimm. They do great work there. Check it out. But that's the story about him trying to get his second bailout after Elon Musk stole the bailout from him. Really annoying. But here we go. These are the senators that voted yes for Bezos to get $10 billion in taxpayer money. That's our money. And they're going to give it to the richest man on earth. Now, you want to know something interesting about that list? Because I know something really interesting about that list. There's every single person who marks their name with a D voted yes. Now, I'm a lefty. I agree with Democrats way more often than Republicans. But this is some bullshit right here. I'm going to go ahead and read off this list. Because you need to be asking these people, what are they doing? They can't agree on infrastructure. Something that would objectively help the lives of every American. Our infrastructure gets a grade of D, and we need to boost that. We have one of the worst infrastructures in the world, and we're the richest country in the world, and there's no excuse for that. And these guys, they're going to vote no on infrastructure. Well, I guess since there's a lot of D's, they'll vote yes on infrastructure. But they can come to a bipartisan agreement to give Jeff Bezos $10 billion. Thank God the House killed it. But they can't come to a bipartisan agreement on fucking infrastructure, which our country desperately needs. So let's go ahead and... I'm going to read each and every one of these fuckers. I'm going to say their name. And we just need to ask, what the fuck are these guys doing? Are they just voting yes without reading legislation, or do they know the legislation and they're just corrupt? Because $625,000 to buy $10 billion seems like a fucking bargain to me. So anyways, what we have is, we're going to read off their last names here. You'll recognize some of them. These are the yes votes to give Jeff Bezos taxpayer money. Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt, Booker, Cory Booker, not a shock. Brown, Cantwell, Brown, Sherrod Brown, I'm so disappointed. Capito, Cardin, Caper, Casey, Collins, Coons, Cornyn, Cortez Masto, Crapo, probably Crapo, I'm going to pronounce it Crapo. He voted yes on this. Drains, Duckworth, Durbin, Feinstein, of course. Gillibrand, of course. Graham, Grassley, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, King, Klobuchar, Leahy, Lujan, Manchin, of course. Markey, fucking disappointed in you, buddy. McConnell, Menendez, Merkley, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff. Padilla? I'm terrible at names. You probably know that. Peters, Portman, Reed, Reich, Romney, Rosen, Rounds, Shates, Schumer, Shaheen, Cinema, duh, of course, Cinema, Smith, Steubenau, Sullivan, Tester, Tillis, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, God, she's so disappointing, Whitehouse, Wicker, Wyden, and Young. So, that list is almost entirely D's and a lot of R's. The only senator I like that voted against this damn thing was Sanders. And it's profoundly disappointing that these guys voted to give Jeff Bezos money, and we need to seriously be asking what the fuck are these guys doing in power. Because it's frustrating. These guys, they control the rules. They don't need to be taking money from anybody. But they do for re-election campaigns. They could rewrite the law so they didn't have to, but fuck it. Let's just do it this way, because fuck the American people, am I right? Our system is so corrupt, these people are, I cannot believe. I guess I don't have much more to say about this soapbox, but these people are just disgust me. Who in their right mind will give Jeff Bezos extra money? And we need to look at these people and figure out exactly what they're doing and why they would vote for this. Oh, another fact I want to share. Because we don't need billionaires. We have a few billionaires and we don't need a single one. And I'm going to share a few little fact about billionaires. Let's say you landed on this country with Columbus back when he first landed in America. And you make $10,000 a day. Now there's going to be two concessions to this. Number one, you don't spend a penny of that. And number two, you don't die. So you land on America on its founding, $10,000 a day every day since then. Today, you're not a billionaire. $10,000 a day, you're not a billionaire. We don't need billionaires. It's gross. It's obnoxious. We have a homelessness crisis, and we have to deal with billionaires. Jeff Bezos needs $10 billion because his 180 billion yen isn't enough. Fuck him. Fuck all billionaires. There's so many social problems a billionaire could fix, but they don't, because they don't give a shit about anything but themselves. So fuck these people, seriously. Alright, we got super serious there, but now we're going to do something fun. What are we going to do? Let me pull it up here. I actually have not seen the new Suicide Squad trailer, so I'm going to watch it right now for you guys, and we'll discuss it a bit. I just got to bring it up here. We don't need to be looking at this guy anymore. So, still learning this software, so hopefully it can go smoother later. Yay! Isn't that cool? Yeah, isn't it cool that I put that up there? Anyways, here we go.
Robert Dubois. He's in prison for putting Superman in the ICU with a kryptonite bullet.
I'm not joining your
Really?
Suicide Squad.
We'll see.
So he
My court date is coming up, and Miss Waller said maybe you could help me out.
is that before or after Justice League?
Miss Waller, I don't stand down.
When was he shot kryptonite bullet, and why didn't Batman do that?
If this mission went more important than you could possibly imagine, are you in or out? Good. Let's meet your team.
I'm really confused by that.
Each member is chosen for his or her own
Ah well, we're gonna focus on this one, because this movie does look like a lot of fun. There's a serious question, how many of these people will actually survive this?
Is this thing a dog?
A dog? What kind of dog do you think it is, mate?
I'm gonna go with
I actually seriously wonder if Captain Boomerang will die. Because I think there is this feeling that all the people who are
harmless. I mean, he's not harmless.
returning, there's not a huge amount, but the few that are returning are probably going to not die. So I think there's a decent chance they'll kill Captain Boomerang in that front, just to establish that they could
every
die.
trace of something known only
Because
as
James Gunn
Project
has said he's killing a lot of these people.
Any questions?
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
Good to know.
No.
No.
Who was that? I didn't see anybody.
All right. Let's get it.
I'm looking forward to that. So
that's kind of our thing.
I'm a superhero!
I think Polka Dot Man's probably gonna make it. Harley's gonna make it, obviously. I think King Shark will make it. I think,
Let me get you out of
I
here.
don't remember the name. I think
I'm going to
Idris Elba
get
was
you
probably not.
out of here alive.
Ratatouille, what do you got?
Bird.
Now it. Stay off the comm.
Yeah. That was fun. I'm looking forward to that movie quite a bit. I think that's like August 6th or something like that. That should be awesome. Here it is. So yeah, that was a fun trailer. I wonder who, it does make me wonder who's gonna die. Because they have said they're going to kill a lot of people, and that's almost part of the point of a Suicide Squad story. If you're going to do a Suicide Squad, you're going to kill off a lot. That's something the original one really messed up. Because, earbuds feel weird. Because in that movie, it felt so, teleplayed, where the characters just show up, and, the one character who's, he doesn't get a huge intro, and he gets a little voiceover. Oh, so that's Slipknot. He can climb anything. And 10 minutes later, his head's exploding and he's dead. And that's one of the only deaths in that movie. And it's so, that death does not sell you that anybody could die. And that's why I suspect if they want to do something like that, they're probably going to do it for, Wait, is there a Red Band trailer? Oh my god, did I not watch? Apparently there's a Red Band trailer. We'll see how different it is. We're going to watch that right now. Oh, wait. No, wait. That's from March. Blah. Got tricked. Anyways. Yeah, I think the Pete Davidson character is probably gonna die. I think that rat character is probably gonna die. There's that orange lady. I think she's probably gonna die. I think Nathan Fillion's probably gonna die. The Peter Capaldi character is probably gonna die. There's like the rat girl. I can't think of her name. Maybe like Rat Catcher or something like that. I think she's probably gonna live. I think they'll probably keep Amanda Waller around. I think Harley's obviously gonna survive. I think King Shark will survive. And I think my 2 cents of nonsense will be happy, he can make more King Shark content when the sequel comes out. I think he'll probably have a little life ahead of him. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that movie. I think that movie feels like what the original Suicide Squad could have been, what in many ways it almost was. The original Suicide Squad sucked, but I thought actually I enjoyed a lot of the characters. So it had that going for it. So I'm kind of happy to see some of the characters return in this one. But yeah, I think that will be a good movie. So that'll be it for today. Like I said, I'm not going to do any recording next week, but I'll put stuff together for next week, and then probably do some recording in probably sometime over the next week. I don't know my regular work schedule, so I will find that out probably sometime later. But I hope to do, I won't do any podcast next week, but the week after that, I hope to do 2. So yeah, it'll probably be like that for at least during summer. So none and then 2, none and then 2. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this very adequate show. And I hope to bring you more clips and scenes next time when I have more than an hour to play with this program before I discover it before the show. Have a good one. I want to go ahead and add some audio credits at the end here. The theme music you're hearing at the beginning and end of this podcast was written and performed by George Johnson, a very good friend of mine. And my current Patreons are Fel Martins, David Lara, and Lindsay Pankhurst. If you'd like to become a patron, go ahead and follow the link down below. Anything you can provide would be incredibly helpful to this channel. We're barely limping by right now. I'd love to make this my full-time job, but I'm miles away from that right now. So any help you could provide, just $1 a month would be amazing. You know you want to. All your friends are doing it.